Hey there, strangers. It's time for another 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and we are getting ourselves back into some GGG programming today. Today is my weekly programming session. Um, to be honest, I probably would be doing this every day, but then again, I don't really know if I'd really be holding many views on it or whatnot. Kind of strange, really. Uh, um, I think I've had more people that have kind of come to this particular portion of my streams than I've ever had with my gaming sessions in the past. Would that actually continue the full week? I don't really know. Um, but it would mean that I would be able to finish off this game faster, that's for sure, if I was working on it more on a regular basis. Now, you might be asking, well, Jim, you have all the time in the world, past your other streams. Why not you just, work on it in your off time? Well, that's the problem with me, is that, games are a hobby of mine. Okay, and it's unfortunately it, you know, one could say that it is an addiction. It is, something that I enjoy doing, and uh, I might go kind of stir crazy if I didn't have it, because then I'd be like, well, what else do I do? Watch TV? Meh. Watch movies all the time? Meh. You know, there's no sense of accomplishment when you're uh, just watching TV or watching movies, other than, yay, you watched it. You completed the season. Okay. You know, with games, you actually have a little bit of that accomplishment, which is, I think, one of the reasons why, so many people play games, and, you know, there are so many people that, enjoy games, is that, even though it isn't, you're not like building anything, or you're not like, going out and, you know, volunteering or something along those lines, it's still a small accomplishment. Now, I would recommend, if you're kind of watching this or whatnot, if you're kind of struggling as to what you want to do in life, you know, if there's something that you think that you can do, you can work on, do it. There's, um, there's plenty of um, organizations out there, nonprofit organizations that need help. You know, um, you want to build homes, go to uh, Habitat for Humanity, for example. You want to, try to help with, you know, uh, giving people some, food or something like that, to go to a food bank, or go volunteer to pantry or something along those lines. There's always little things that can help others out, or you know, uh, work on some of your own individual projects like woodworking, fabric making, um, clothing, jewelry, you know, something that you can kind of put out there and say, this is mine, this is what I made. You know, you know, this, what I'm doing today, this is mine. This is what I'm working on. I'm not doing it daily, but I'm still working on it. So let's get into this, shall we? All right. So last week we were working on getting to a spot where we could actually place our agents on the map. And that was giving me a little bit of pause because I wasn't following exactly like the um, 2D roguelike tutorial was all about. It was using a transform for placement and movement. And the I did eventually get the placement set for the tiles using this similar methods, but I haven't gotten to that point of adding AIs into that and then trying to work with said positions based off of the transforms. So where we left off was kind of like a cliffhanger. So if you're following this along on YouTube, then you'll know that in this video we're going to be working on those errors that showed up at the very last portion of my last video. And we'll see about trying to get that worked out a bit. So, let's see. What else? Well, that's the main goal for today is work on at least placing agents. Okay. I'm not I'm not too concerned about movement yet. I just want to be able to place the agents and um, figure out how to get that to work with what I have. So, so, so for those of you that have kind of stuck with me and kept on following me for this particular goal of mine, trying to see if we can get this game working. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Um, so for those that might be wondering, why didn't you like maybe bring this up to, some kind of software development company or something like that? Use that to your advantage. Well, it's my life hasn't exactly gone as well as it could have. Um, I've gotten hit with a lot of setbacks in my time, my life. Very similar to uh, very similar to my father in some ways. Um, you see, there's quite a few jobs where I've gone to them and I probably could have climbed the corporate ladder. You know, for example, I once worked at a place called Countrywide. You know, it's not Countrywide anymore. It was bought and merged. Um, but I was gone before that happened. But I was young enough. I could have gave up on college and worked my way up the corporate ladder. But I wanted something more. You know, it wasn't feeding my creativity, that job. Uh, all I was doing was moving folders around, filing, data entry. There was no creativity. And I wanted that in my life. I wanted to be able to create something, put my name on something and say, this is mine. I made this. I was obviously, I was still part of a business, so I was still helping out others, you know, home loans, for example. Hey, you know, I'm helping someone with their home loan in some small fashion, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. Um, you're contributing in some small way, to help someone else out. Okay. So I don't see that as a negative. Okay. Um, you should never look at, a job that you do as as a negative. Okay. If you do, um, maybe that job isn't the best for you. If you're having pretty negative thoughts on, the work that you're doing, then maybe you need to kind of look at what you're doing and see if there's maybe something better for you. Maybe. Uh, I'm just saying maybe. Don't quit your job, on a moment's notice just to pursue something that um, make sure that you have a net below you, something to catch you. Okay. And having a job is that safety net. Is that something that can kind of catch you a little bit? Okay. So don't think I'm going to quit my job right now and become a Twitch star. I'm going to become a YouTube star. It takes time for that. Okay. Don't don't look at, you know, I pointed this out to my moderator the other day. It's like, you know, uh, he didn't know that for the longest time, Markiplier, he struggled. You know, a lot of people don't really know that. They never really saw, the YouTube star Markiplier. Um, he didn't start with 1 million followers, subscribers, you know, immediately. Okay. I showed him that he started his vlogging career, I think it was what, 2009 or something like that, 2007, whatever. Um, and uh, it was, he did like a vlog like 3 years after he, started his YouTube uh, videos. It was 3 years after, and he was saying that he had like 1,700 subscribers. So 3,000, 3,000, oh, 3 years equaling 1,700. It's a grind. So anybody that's coming into this YouTube or Twitch life thinking that they will be instantly famous, no, man, you're looking at it wrong. uh, you need to look at the long grind. So, um, you know, you have to kind of work for it. You know, so but YouTube, Twitch, that was never really my intention. Um, I don't really. I mean, don't get me wrong. Would it be nice to actually have a career doing what I'm doing right now? Streaming on a daily basis with playing games and coding? Sure, I would like to do. I wouldn't mind doing that. I'm not making any money right now, so it's not viable for me. Not yet, anyway. I haven't I haven't made that uh, breakout video that will gets millions of views or anything along those lines. Okay. Um, it's it's very difficult to find that one video that catches people's attentions. Okay. If you're trying to make a video like that, trying to you know uh, if you're making videos going, this one's going to be my next million viewer video. Well, internet doesn't work that way. All right. You never know what might trigger someone's attention. Okay. It could be. It's all a matter of timing, to be honest. Um, Markiplier, for example, um, he got on the ground floor with his, and I mean, he really kind of made a splash with his Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. Um, and he kept on pushing forward on those kind of gameplay videos. And that was one of his launching points. Okay. He did other things. Don't get me wrong. Okay. He did other videos, he did other gameplays, um, and all that. But I mean, you gotta, you know, if you know his history, Five Nights at Freddy's kind of goes right along with him. So, um, so it's you have to look at everything that's kind of going along with all the YouTube and Twitch and all that kind of jazz. So, um, trying to come into Twitch and YouTube thinking that you can uh, be instantly famous is the wrong look. Don't do that. Or at least I would recommend not doing it. You can you can think in your mind that's a goal. You know, I want to be that YouTuber, Twitch streamer that has a million views and so on and so forth. Okay, but you're gonna work for it. All right. People that are coming into this you know, into YouTube and Twitch, thinking that they're gonna make, you know, thousands of dollars and stuff like that on it. You might get lucky. You might get lucky. But let's face it, there, folks. There's a lot of people out there right now watching a whole lot of other videos, a whole lot of streamers. So you have to look at it, you know, with a with a different mindset. I was kind of uh, telling my landlord the other day. There's typically three ways that you can come at this business. Okay, because you're coming at it as an entertainer. Okay, or at least that's how I'm kind of viewing it right now. Okay, I could be completely wrong about this, but I see it as three different ways. Okay, first way, you're coming onto streaming and YouTube just for your own personal gratification. Okay, you're putting up the videos, you're kind of putting up the streams for your own personal. I like doing it. I don't really care about anyone else. Okay, that's one way of uh, approaching being an entertainer. Okay, and that's actually pretty healthy. Okay, because mentally you're not really caring too much about what other people think about you, what other people say about your videos or anything along those lines. You're not going to be affected by others kind of putting you down or anything along those lines because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself. All right, so if you're happy for what you're doing, then you're good. You're golden. Okay, so that's actually a pretty good outlook for it. Okay. Second possibility that you can do when you're trying to go into YouTube or Twitch. You're doing it for strictly for the business. Okay. You're looking at it as a purely a business means. You're trying to approach it so that everything you do on your YouTube channel, on your Twitch stream is meant to make you money. Well, that's great. But um, welcome to millions of other YouTuber, Twitch streamers out there that are also kind of doing it for the same exact reason. You have to stand out. Okay. Um, you're getting into the entertainment business. All you have to do is look at actors. Okay. Look how many. Uh, Look at how many people have worked in the acting business for their big break. Okay. Trying to get that movie, trying to get that TV series. A lot of people don't make it. Uh, a lot of people struggle. Majority of the time, well, I mean, hell, there was that one actor from the Cosby Show, for example. Okay, he was in the news, months back. Someone saw him working the cash register at um, a grocery store. I forget exactly which one. This lady took a picture of the guy and was like, "On, look at this guy who is super famous from the Cosby Show. Why is he working at this place? Is he slumming it?" It's like, no, he hasn't found work. So he has to feed himself. He has to eat. So he's working whatever he can, whenever he can to put food on the table. You know, you know, I'm sure that he's going out for auditions and um, possibilities out there. Any actor in that field is doing just that. They're working that restaurant server minimum wage kind of a job to survive, and then they're going to all um, these potential actor uh, jobs that are out there, you know, trying out to get that one character in that TV show and the commercial and the in the movie just for some kind of income. That's the exact same thing for here on YouTube and Twitch. Okay? If you're looking for it as a business, then you have to treat it an much like how you are as an actor. Okay, you're gonna have to find that like part-time job or full-time job or something like that just to make ends meet, and then you do these videos with some kind of style or flair or something or other, hoping potential for that one potential win, and might not ever come. You know how many people have died never making it in Hollywood as an actor? A lot. Sad to say, that's the reality of it all, okay? You might not get your 15 minutes of fame. And even if you do get your 15 minutes, it may be just that 15 minutes. So, so for those of you that are coming into Twitch and YouTube thinking I'm going to be making it big as a business, you're going to need to work hard for it. That's for damn sure. You're going to have to look at it like any other actor would. You know, uh, case in point, there was one girl on Twitter. she was going, woe is me, why aren't I getting, why am I not getting a whole lot of followers? Why am I not getting a whole lot of subscribers? I'm like, this is the nature of the beast here. Get yourself a part-time job. Feed yourself that way. You're not going to make it in YouTube or Twitch if you're screaming at, you're not going to make it if you're screaming at the high heavens. Watch me! No, no. You might actually have the exact opposite effect of it. You know, take case in point, there was like one Twitch streamer that was, uh, her name was kind of floating around a little bit because she was like going, you're gonna have to pay for my content. If you're watching me, you're gonna have to pay for it, or something along those lines. I don't really know. I didn't really care. I didn't really care about listening to her or giving her any kind of sound bites, anything. Okay. I don't even care for knowing her Twitch stream name. There's, for those that don't really know, there's a ability for you to keep your um, your streams subscribers only. You can basically block it off to, anyone that's a follower, anyone that's a subscriber, blah blah blah. Okay. There's a method for you to do that. Problem is that that's a paywall, and unless you have a whole lot of people following you, you're shooting yourself in the foot. The fact that she was talking about, you need to pay me for watching these. You could activate that little ability, from Twitch, restricting viewership. And believe me, it's a paywall. You're probably going to be losing people that way. You know, not everybody can pay for subscriptions. I know I can't. So you have to have the right mindset when it comes to it being purely a business. Third, and I really do need to finish this before uh, I've spent too much time on this. I apologize. But the third and final thing is you look at it from both perspectives. You're doing it for yourself, but you're also considering it as a business. Okay. Um, this to me is probably the best mentality that you can have if you're coming into it with this kind of uh, outlook. Okay. Um, because not only are you actively trying to make the best videos that you think that you can make, but you're trying to do it in such a way that you can attract attention, attract viewership. Um, you're looking for those ways um, that might give you that viewership a little bit more. Looking at those videos that might, you know, uh, you're looking at the analytics of it all. Seeing what videos people are interested in, you know, um, seeing what people are, you know, uh, what brings people onto your channel, and you modify your channel accordingly. You modify it to it. You work hard trying to modify your channel so that you follow along those analytics. You're looking at it. You're seeing what's the what how long do people stay for your channel? What videos are they watching? You know, what's your age group? What's You know, who's your viewerships? Are they men? Are they women? Um, you know, um, what kind of videos are they watching? You know, where is their interest? You see that and you build off of that. All right. Like, for example, I've gotten a lot of interest based off of Borderlands 2, for example, or Borderlands. All right. One would think that I can make an entire channel based off Borderlands. But that is a singular focus that might work for the business side of my channel. You know, I could look at all my Borderlands content, edit it down into something that people might enjoy, and put those small clips up on my YouTube channel. If it's purely Borderlands, I wouldn't necessarily be happy with it. All right. So right now for me, I'm looking at I'm doing this just kind of for myself, to be honest. Um, I do appreciate when people do come on to my channel and do, um, give their input on improvement, give input on, coding or my gameplay videos or something along those lines. Um, but I'm not necessarily going to be changing up how I do the videos because I don't really have a huge interest in editing. You know, I'll I'll change my games around. I'll change the um, what games I play based off of what others might want, but I'm not doing it because I'm looking at the analytics for what gets better views. If I was looking for something like that, all the games that I've played so far on YouTube probably wouldn't be there. Go to my YouTube channel, look at all the games that I've played. They're story-based games, games that I've kind of enjoyed playing over this time. Gives me a sense of accomplishment, something that I've done over this time. And there hasn't been that many multiplayer games that I've done. And that's where the most traffic I get are from multiplayer games. Stardew, Borderlands 2, Warframe, World of Warships. All multiplayer style games that, you know, you I could probably be getting a lot more views, a lot more um, viewership if I stuck strictly to those games. So, um, some games are a little bit harder to try to have new viewerships or new multiplayers for. Like, you know, I was doing a Civ run through with Neon, for example, uh, and um, and that was enjoyable. I did enjoy that. Not something that someone can easily kind of step into. You know, if you want the whole multiplayer viewership kind of deal, look to the games that are quick. Okay, Fortnite, Access, Apex Legends, um, Dota, League of Legends, um, these kind of games that you can get some some people that might want to play with you, and you might actually be able to make a decent channel out of that. But you're going to be playing that game almost daily, or you'd have to find some way of um, you have to find some kind of schedule for it because uh, if you're trying to make that into a business, you better be willing to go 8 to 5 every day on it. Treat it like a full-time job because, man, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are doing the exact same thing. So, but for me, this is this is what I'm kind of working on. This is where my focus is. So, pardon me, I got my nose is getting stuffed up here. Sorry about that. So, for me, I got this is where I want to spend my time on. Alright. Um, this the streaming that I do keeps my focus down on the project at hand. Okay. Um, Getting back to my original statement about the why aren't you doing it on your regular time? Well, I need some kind of structure to kind of keep my focus going. Streaming is helping me do that. Okay. Um, it's keeping me on a regular set schedule that I can keep on working on this particular project to keep it going. Um, and doing the gameplay videos during the rest of the week, you know, is is kind of meant for, um, kind of trying to expand the business, I guess. I mean, I still have that mentality of, maybe I can make something out of this, but I'm not seeing it as I'm not seeing it as an income right now. I'm not making any income on it. There's there's no ads right at the moment. There's no patrons. There's no subscriptions. There's no bits. Nothing. So, for those of you that are kind of stumbling on my channel and stuff like that, and going, well, why aren't you making thousands of dollars? Well, I'm not there yet. You know, you have to be an affiliate to get subscribers and bits. But I need to have the 3 viewer average for a month. I'm not making that. I'm getting like 1.4 at the latest. So, I was kind of hoping a little bit that, uh, you know, friends of mine and moderators would kind of change that a little bit, but that hasn't really happened either. So, I can't rely on it. And, I wasn't planning on relying on it, to be honest. All right. No one should. If they're looking at a business, no one should come into this relying on the fact that they're going to make money off of it immediately. Just don't do it. But this feeds my creativity. This keeps me going. This keeps my programming moving forward. Flex, flexing my wings a little bit, trying to reach the sky. I just gotta make sure not to go flying towards the sun. You know. Those of you that are coming into Twitch and YouTube, thinking that you're gonna be making millions of dollars off of it or something like that, look up Icarus. Old mythology. That's what you're doing right now. You're reaching for the sun. And you have the potential to crash and burn if you're not careful. Take steps. Take the steps that you need to reach for the sun. But don't get too close to it. Alright. Look towards trying to that success without burning yourself up in the process. It's great to have a goal. It's great to have something to work towards. Case in point. But don't destroy yourself in the process. So. Okay, let's get into this here because I've spent a lot of time just blabbing away, and you guys are going, come on, Jim, we're here for some coding. Yes, you are. So am I. So let's get started on this. Apologies for the apologies on my end to try to and all that. So, all right, let's get some of these going here. So we have quite a few errors and whatnot, and we need to get them fixed before we can move on. So don't need to worry about the release notes. All right. So let's look at this. There's no argument given that corresponds to required formal parameter temp position. Alright. So right. Alright. So seeing that ghosts, goblins, and ghouls are a subclass of the agent abstract class, we're going to need to make constructors to allow for um, the creation of these particular agents, as well as allow for it to pass in the necessary information into, the temp position, or get the um, to set where the agents are showing up at. Um, so let's go ahead and get this going here. We're looking at a vector 2. Um, and then alright, I'm gonna need to set this up to similar to humans here, because um, same kind of process. Human is also part of the agent, but as you can kind of see, humans aren't being shown as a problem. I was working on humans a bit um, to get this kind of working for it all, but um, as you can see, I don't have the ghost goblins and ghouls set up for it either. Um, so let's see. We're going to open these up individually here, because we need to work on all of them all at the same time. So um, so we're basically looking at this being copied multiple different times. Um, we're probably going to need to modify this a little bit more, but I mean, this will be enough to satisfy um, the errors. Okay. All right. That should take care of the three errors that are on top here. Now, they're not going away right away, um, because it needs to kind of um, Unity needs to take focus so that it could update um, all of the values here. Now, next thing that we want to do is we want to go to Game Manager and Board Manager here to try to handle the errors that are popping up here. So let's go ahead and take care of those. So game manager, we're looking at line 120. Alright, cannot convert null to vector2 because it's non-nullable value type. Okay, would have figured that vector2 is an object and therefore can be nullable, but I guess not. Um, because I'm looking at this right here and going, okay, well, we're going to need to you know, if the agent positions is still considered as null, okay, it's, you know, having some problems with the position, then, you know, we need to kind of reset the position appropriately. But if it can't be null, then it has to, I'm going to have to do something else on this. So I'm not quite sure exactly what C# does with vector 2's, or what Unity does with vector 2's. So let me look this up real quick, find out what um, how I can make an equivalent null value for a vector 2. Am I going to have to just kind of use negative numbers as a check, or is there something that I can do that will make it kind of stand out a little bit? Yep. Actually, we don't really want it that large anyway. Let me go ahead and expand this out a little bit. All right, so C# vector 2. It's struct. Okay. Yeah, structs are a little bit of a different beast. So it's not technically a class. You can kind of fake it being a class, but if it's a struct, it's um, you know, for those that, you know, might not be aware, structs aren't a class, so that you can't really consider them as a class. Um, they are they are similar to an array, for example. Okay, they're a set container that you can put different, um, you know, a struct. You know, not looking at vector2 itself. Okay, vector2 is something else. Okay, a struct. Okay, when you construct one, you can basically put whatever kind of parameters that you kind of want inside of it, except for maybe a class. I don't really know if that's even possible or not. But Maybe you can. Um, Maybe you can actually have an object inside of a struct, but more often than not, okay, it is a container that you can put values in into it. Okay, and you could store those values inside that struct. Okay, and then you can send um, that data location elsewhere. All right, um, so that it can be used elsewhere using the information contained within said struct. Okay, it's not technically an object. Um, because it's not a class. Okay, typically it's you're well. We're going right down into the nitty gritty. Some people might actually kind of disagree with me on that. I'm sure. Um, so I gotta be careful with how I'm kind of approaching this because you're, for example, okay, everybody's like going, well, Jim, according to this, vector 2 is under the object framework. So that's the reason why I have to be really careful with this because I mean it isn't it isn't it's really one of those, I will admit I don't know everything there is to know about programming. Okay, I still have. I mean, hell, I don't even have a job in the field right at the moment. I mean, it's really difficult to kind of separate them out, okay? Because you look at a struct and you look at a class, and you're basically looking at very similar style of data management, okay? Within a struct, you can have functions stored within it. You can have pointers, you can have variables, you can have, uh, if I'm not mistaken, you should actually have classes inside of a struct, okay? You can actually have, something contained in, an actual class contained within the struct. You can have objects contained within the struct. Does that make it an object itself? Yes, no. More often than not, I've heard of classes that are objects. Okay, classes you can do the exact same thing. You can have variables inside of it. You can have functions. You can have other classes. Um, but typically, okay, based off of my knowledge here, folks, don't burn me too badly. Okay, but based off of what I know, classes are typically viewed as objects, structs are not. Typically, I think it's based off of perspective or based off of the language, depending on how you view it. So, all right. Uh, hmm. So with it being is a struct, we need it can't really work with a null. And that's a problem. Because if I can't make it a null, I need to set values into it that aren't um, I'm gonna have to kind of change up the way I do these vectors here. So, um, let's see. Actually, there we go. Okay, so we're setting the values to the vector into some very large negative number that I won't be using in the game, and therefore um, I can use it as a testing value. And if we verify that um, that what's being sent back is not a valid position, then the um, then we're going to have to reset it to something that can get a valid position. So get rid of all that white space. All right. So let's go back and see what's changed here on our Unity. See, it's refactoring all of the um, refactoring all the code that it's seeing, and it should give us some new error messages. There we go. All right, so what I did to Ghost, Ghouls, and Goblins was enough to clear out those errors, but now we have this problem right here. This is a Unity problem. There is no argument given that corresponds to the required formal parameter y in vector2 dot vector2 float float. That's counter to what's being said here. Creates a new this creates a new vector2 object whose two elements have the same value. Oh my god. Unity, if you guys are gonna make a language that's kind of based off of the foundations of um based off the foundations of C sharp, use all of their constructors. Ay, ay. Oh, yeah, well. Ay. Uh, okay, so it's having a problem with this. Vector2 does not contain a definition for x and no accessible extension method x accepting the first argument type vector. Alright, so apparently Unity's vector is different than Unity's vector 2 is different than um, regular C sharp. Let's look it up. Let's find out what the heck is going on here. Alright, see if you their documentation here isn't great. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out here. Okay, because compare the documentation here with what you have here. Okay, see their constructors actually has the values being put into their constructors. Okay, their methods have the um, what needs to be passed into their methods. This does not. Public methods, okay, what do I pass into these? Static methods, what do I pass into these? It's put them on this main page. Don't have me click on another link telling me, oh, go here and we'll give you the details that you're looking for. You could put this right here, and it helps out people like me who just wants to know what parameters are going into those methods or into those constructors or something like that. I don't need to open up a brand new page for um, for examples. My interest is what is actually being passed into said constructors, said methods, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is good. I don't mind you having some descriptors or um, some additional information as to how this works. That's perfectly fine. You can have these um, methods or functions that does just that. That's perfectly fine. But give me the parameters right here. All right. So these are lowercase. All right. Let's see. There we go. Clear out all the warnings, and there you go. So we got some. So this was the right answer. The vector 2 is using a lowercase x, not a capital. Alright, whatever. Kind of annoying that I have to do this, the double, and this at least is understandable. You know, the parameter is lowercase. Totally understandable on that one. Alright, so let's look at the rest of the errors here. So um, we got protection issues. So let's look at our board manager here. We're going to go to spawn human, and it's set to private. Yeah. Private typically means that it's typically contained within the object itself. Now, I feared that um, having the object of the board manager would be able to allow for me to get said private function, but I guess not. That doesn't really it doesn't really work too well. Um, okay, so let's see. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to use okay. Um, oh hey there. Hard to pronounce that username there. Kugitsi, Gits Git Gitski. Welcome. What do you think about 2019.3? Am I using that? I haven't upgraded to that particular version there. Kugitski. Thank you there, bud. I appreciate that. Sorry for butchering your username there, bud. I haven't used 2019.3 yet. I still need to upgrade to that particular version, but I don't know what they've changed yet on it. Hopefully they've been fixing some of the problems on it. I confirm 2019.3 is GG. Okay, that's good, man. That's good to hear. Um, I'm developing my MMO on 2019.3. Oof, MMO, that could be an interesting project. Um, do you got yourself a team with you, or are you doing it all on your own? Okay, let's see. So let's see. Hopefully that'll work. A small team? Okay. That's good. That's good. Trying to tackle, something that handles massive multiplayer or, massive multi um, can be a huge daunting task for a single person. That's the reason why I'm not doing it yet. I accept passionate people to work on that project. That is also understandable. Um, you want to make sure that you can uh, you allow for people that want to work on your project, you know, allowed on the team. So, uh, but the entire engine is working and it's made by another company. Okay, well, I mean, let's face it, um, there's going to be tools that us programmers use that we not we're not going to be able to develop on our own sometimes. Case in point, I'm using Unity. Um, I mean, if I'm a purist, someone that wants to do things from scratch, I would just build something straight from like C++ or C sharp or something along those lines. Purely from scratch. Make my own engine and blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm not that well versed in graphics and sound design and the like to for me to tackle such a project. So I think I'm gonna be using a little bit of the tools available to me to at least get this one particular project done. I spent like $3,000 for that engine. That's a hefty price. But I mean, if you can afford it and if it meets the requirements that you have to get the game working the way you want it to, then sometimes that's a good investment. You know, I don't have that kind of money, so I can't purchase a whole lot. So a lot of this is pretty much my own sweat and tears right at the moment. So, okay, let's see. Let's go back to our errors and find out what is going on. Okay, so it didn't like the fact that it's still under. Um, it didn't like the fact that I switched from private to protected. Okay. Now learning the absolutely amazing new train engine of 2019.3. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just doing 2D right at the moment. That's about as much as my abilities can give right at this point. So, um, as it stands, I don't have like an artist or anyone behind me that can. I don't have a team that can make the 3D assets. So I think I'll stick with 2D sprites for now. I'll get the I'll get this game running at some point, and then I'll worry about trying to expand on it later. So, oh, oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Uh, okay, so What am I missing out on this? Because I'm I'm getting the I'm getting the components, the board manager from this. So I should have access to the majority of its functions contained within it, but why am I not getting protected working for me on this? Huh. Private I can understand that, private is something that functions that typically work within the class itself, but protected I thought you could actually use outside it, use it by within other classes or whatnot. What am I missing here? Hmm. Why am I having a hard time with this? And I mean, do I have to make all of my functions public? Then what's the point of actually having um, the protected type? Hmm. Hmm. Oh, okay. Wait. Oh, jeez. Really? So, in other words, even if I was to create the an object or create a new object for shape, I still can't access it because I have to have it derived. Is that what I'm seeing there? So, so sure, okay, you get square, which is derived from shape. You can access the protected area of said shape from this derived class. That's fine, but you can't do it from its own class. Am I seeing this correctly? Okay. Well, I guess I can't. Would have figured that this would have worked for any other code base like C++ or C Sharp, but apparently this doesn't work for Unity. Okay, I guess there's really no point in me. Yeah, I guess it's either public or private. I don't understand why they. I don't understand why they're very focused on the fact that it has to be derived in order to actually have access to a protected value. You know, if you declare something, var shape is equal to new shape, one would think that you would have access to protected, but I guess not. All right. So I gotta make this public, I guess. I don't know what other attribute I could use here to make this particular line work. It should work, to my knowledge. I mean, am I just not knowing if am I messing up on my coding basics in some fashion or another? I mean, isn't that the way things normally work? You have an object for that class, you should be able to access the functions contained within that class if you have protected. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If I'm wrong in some fashion or another, please figure out, please like link me something that is telling me why my thinking is incorrect. Um, I would appreciate it. But okay, let's let's move on here. Let's see. That should take care of all the inaccessibility issues. Yeah. All right. So now we have two additional errors here. Um, no overload for method spawn human takes two arguments. All right. I'm not a programmer, so can't say much, but the best coding I've ever seen was Construct 3. Nice. Uh, it's okay there. It's okay. I've encountered some problems with Unity. Case in point, let me kind of show you as an example. I just encountered this just earlier today. Um, so using vector 2, for example. Okay, looking at the C sharp, which is what Unity is constructed off of. C sharp is the foundation for Unity. So I look for the C sharp um, version of struct 2, thinking that, that's what Unity does with C sharp, so everything that I see in C sharp should work for Unity, right? So I'm looking at the constructors for vector 2, and I see these two constructors for vector 2. This one says, hey, give me a single object and I'll make both of their x and y values the same, okay? Or I can make them individual for their unique values. So I'm like, okay, so I actually changed this vector 2 here to just include the single digit in there, thinking, um, okay, I'll just put that single digit in there and I'll set it for both x and y. Awesome. Well, Unity said, no, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. Here, let me bring it back up for you, and I can show you exactly. Uh, so their constructor for vector 2, it requires two two unique values. So yeah, their constructors don't match the constructors for C sharp. So okay, it's not a perfect engine, but so I had to change it back. So whatever. So all right. Okay, so let's see. No overload for methods spawn human takes two arguments. Oh, that's why I recommend Game Maker Studio for 2D games. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some tools that are better than others. Um, the reason why I'm kind of trying to use Unity in this is for me to get a familiarity with Unity, because I still apply for jobs that are um, game companies from time to time, and Unity is one of those tools that some game companies still use. So I figured this is um, a method that will keep my coding up to snuff and allows me to learn a new tool set. So, um, plus, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Game Maker Studio is actually a free product or not. Let's see. It could be. I don't really know. Let's see. Try for free today. Typically, most engines like these tell you, hey, we'll let you try it out, but then we'll restrict you and um, Yeah, not free. Yeah, so not free. You get the two though. One is lame. Two is GG. Wanted to make a 2D space game, but I'm not a coder. Understandable though, but understandable. Coding takes uh, coding can be quite a beast sometimes. So, um, but yeah, if I got no cash coming to me right at the moment, so I got to do with um, you know, my first inclination is try to get something free out there, or try to use something free for now, and then if if I get some amount of income based off of the game that I'm making later in the future, or get a job that actually pays me decently enough that I can actually afford some of these things, then I'll look into that a little bit more. But for now, uh, this is where I'm currently at. But I draw GG pixel arts. Nice, they're bad. So you're more of the uh, you're more of the artist on your team then, I guess. I don't want to. Okay, I don't necessarily want to put you into any particular uh, set area. What's the words that I'm trying to say? I don't want to necessarily confine you. Okay, you're working on a project, and believe me, when you're working on a project, such as like what I'm doing right now, you're swapping out hats all the time. Okay, design, um, QA, testing, all that kind of jazz. You're going to be putting on those hats if you're trying to do this by yourself. If you're on a team, that gives you a little bit more um, leeway to not put on as many hats. Um, because you might not be worried about like music or art or coding or something along those lines, um, if you're a part of a team. So that's why I'm kind of uh, uh, I want to make sure that I'm not putting you into a particular uh, confined job description. So, uh, nah, but I know how to pixel after 3 attempts. Okay, let me try to find an example. Okay, so we're looking at our border manager here, and we need to see what line are we looking at. 176. Ah, okay. So we need to do something like this, and then we'll change this into the values that I was talking about earlier, so that we can use this as a testing bed there. So meaning, okay, so at this particular portion, I'm when the game manager eventually gets to a point where it's going to need to spawn these units. And if the player themselves are selecting a location that will spawn where he wants the humans to be, then I'll be changing these particular values into the location on where the player selected. Okay, getting the um, getting the transform um, of where the player clicked, so that we can then use that said location to see whether or not um, it's a viable location on the board itself. And once we, if that particular location isn't a viable uh, point, like they click off board or something along those lines, then um, then it's going to return back a value that it's saying, hey, I can't find this particular location, so we're going to return back junk. So then in this particular instance, when this is taking in the value returned um, based off of the selection that the player made, then we check to see whether or not, hey, does this particular position, is it junk? And if it's junk, then we use the default random location selection to get the position and the position on where the agent will be spawning at. So right now I'm just using this as a test bed right now, using just fake coordinates so that um, this particular attempt, we're going to see about trying to make two human agents right at this point, and we're going to see whether or not they get placed randomly on my map to see whether or not I'm actually placing them correctly. So, um, we're not going to do anything with the monsters just yet. So we're going to hold off on that for now. We're just needing to figure getting the human agents to spawn here. Um, can I post a Discord link? Um, I don't know if my Nightbot will allow for links. If you want to, there, Q, go to my Discord, and you can post it on. Um, you can post the link there if you want. I have some text channels available for coding, and you can probably just go there and post it. Okay, all right, that works too. Um, let's see. Okay, so it's a PNG, so that shouldn't be too bad here. Oh, you're just not gonna give me that, are you? Okay. All right, let's see. Aha. Okay. You said that you worked on a 2D space fighter game. Nice. Okay. So that should clear out all the errors on this. Let's see if we have some additional ones. There we go. First, first was lame, but second was expert level. Good, bud. Hey, for everybody's first attempt, it's always gonna be. Uh, let's just say it won't always be perfect the way you want it. For uh, I remember the very first attempts of programming, and let's face it, you got to start off somewhere, okay? And um, it takes time to build up uh, that level of expertise. It takes a while to grow. Um, so I mean, I look back on when I was first programming, and I I swear, my first attempts, I think uh, there were some people. Uh, there was a TA once, okay, for the basic programming class that I was in, and he took one look at my code and he basically said, "Your code looks like shit." Not exactly something that you want to hear per se, but um, he didn't really help me out. So not exactly the best TA in the world either. So, um, but let's face it, okay? Everybody gonna has to start somewhere, okay? Um, you know, the if you're coming into um, if you're coming into game design or something along those lines, and you're thinking that you're going to be making the next um, World of Warcraft or um, uh, um, Apex Legends or Minecraft or something along those lines, okay, those people had teams and they were all fairly experienced. That's something that you can't necessarily do by yourself. Not. I mean, if you're expecting that this is this is me myself, I can code out the next World of Warcraft by myself. Yeah, right. I'd like to see you try. Go ahead and good luck with that. I hope you have the next 20 years of your life being able to do that by yourself. um, you got to start off somewhere. Okay, you got to start small, and um, you got to keep on building up. Get your experience growing. You keep on stretching yourself out to where um, what you know your first game is probably going to look like shit. It's going to look like crap or something like that. But it's still something that you're going to experience, you're going to learn from, you're going to experience from, you're going to grow from. And it's all about taking steps like that. So, okay, so you sent me two more screenshots. Let me go ahead and click these links and see what. I mean, that ain't bad for one of your attempts there. Let's see. Let's see the second one. Okay. Again, not bad, man. I mean, it's of a unique design. Okay. And I mean, it's let's face it. This right here is better than say the triangle for asteroids. Okay, here let me you know, it's better than that or this. Okay, so you gotta cut you gotta cut yourself some slack there. So you know, so uh, let me look at some of this. Oh, nice. Pretty good there. All right. See, now compare this with what you're showing me to this. You see the growth there. Okay. So, you know, it's okay to, be proud for what you did, for your first attempts. Okay. You don't have to be, um, you don't have to drag yourself down for something that you started off with. I mean, everybody has to start off somewhere. Okay, so, be proud that you've been able to grow from the 2D, um, pixel sprites to a 3D landscape. Be proud of that. Okay, it's just, continued growth. All right. Let's see how we're looking here. We're probably going to get some kind of null message on here. Yeah. Okay, that didn't. See. Hmm. No agent was spawned in, so. Yeah, that's my MMO, my artist at work. We want it to be like WoW, but more HD. But that's my artist. He's a 3D artist. I'm 2D pixel DD Space Game project because I was alone. Well, um, yeah, there it is. Figured that this was it would be a problem here. All right. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Well, don't necessarily. Well, I wouldn't say abandon it. I would say obviously you want to continue working with the team to get things done, to get something out there. So, um, Well, here's the thing. Um, Once you get to a spot where you might be able to like hire out a coder, then you might be able to get that 2D space game working for yourself. So don't think that it's don't say that it's completely abandoned. You can shelve it, okay? You still might want to do said game, but um, maybe on later down the line, um, you can find someone like a coder, like, that's say like for example, you have your team right now that's currently working on your MMO, okay? Maybe your coder will also be interested in making that 2D space game. Probably not based off of what you were saying. You were saying that you were alone on it, okay? Or maybe when you get done with the MMO, you're gonna want to do like another separate project or something along those lines. You hire another programmer that is willing to do the 2D space shooter or something like that. Um, so don't think that it's dead. Just think that it's postponed for now. You know, like for example, I have ideas for MMOs, RPGs, so on and so forth along those lines. Um, but like you, I'm just by myself, um, so I have to kind of shelve those ideas for now, and hold off until I have uh, a larger team to work on said projects. But I know that I can't work on an MMO by myself. So until I get to a point where I can hire out other people, then um, then those roles kind of stay on the shelf for now. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that bridge when we get there. So, okay. So, um, as we can see, we have a null reference exception, basically saying, hey, this object isn't being created whatsoever on this. So this this is a problem on our coding section. So which is understandable. It's not um, we're not ready just yet to get this working. So let's see, get human spawn count. See, that's line 439. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so well, maybe later on you could join my team. Hey, man, uh, I would love to be paid for coding, but for right now, this is what I got. You know, this is my avenue right now. Some people look at me and go, "Hey, you're not good enough as a programmer," and I've been struggling ever since. So, but I'll get there someday. I just gotta keep on. I can't pay right now. Don't worry about it, man. Um, you know, some projects require a certain amount of sacrifice on it, and so um, you know, the if you can join a company that is willing to pay you to actually do certain projects, then great. Um, but if it's not the project that you want to do, you're still going to need to get paid. You're still going to need to have a job to, to keep you going so that you can do that full side project. So just, it's okay, you know. Um, right now my MMO costs me many 10Ks. Oof. But I mean, as long as you have some way of getting that, um, yeah, all my team have a second job. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. You're needing to, um, the yeah, you just basically um said it out loud. Okay. Um, unless you can find a company that is willing to pay for your particular project, which, let's face it, unless you are already a developed game studio that has already produced a couple of games already, most publishers out there won't even touch you. They won't even say hi. They'll be looking at you on, yeah, go away. We get enough of this every single day, you know. So, um, so um, you have to be willing to make some money now, um, and that requires a side job. You have to be able to pay your bills. So, but um, you have to be willing to, if you want the games that you want to make done, you're gonna have to take the time out to actually make said games, and that requires a lot of sacrifice in some cases. So, um, you know, forget about, you know, well, I mean, it depends. It depends on how long you want to spend working on said project. Okay. Um, if you want to put all your time and effort into it, that means going out, having a weekend, having fun in games. You're probably going to be sacrificing a little bit of that. So, okay, let's see. Let's find out what is going on here. Why we're coming back with this. Okay, so hmm. Okay. That's the problem. That's where my failure is on this. So here's where the problem lies. Just for any of you that is kind of curious as to why am I getting this null reference exception? Well, so this is happening at runtime. Okay, this failure. Okay, it's not working correctly. Once the game starts, then this error pops up. Okay, it's going through the steps of, here's the first frame. We're going to go ahead and spawn in that first agent, right? So the problem is that, so the layout for the map has been completed, right? So now we're set to start the, um, we're going to spawn out our, very first kind of agents and whatnot. Well, this is saying, hey, we can't, we can't get this object to, we don't have any value here. Okay, that's what the null reference exception is all about. Okay, it's trying to look at, um, so we're looking at this particular function right here, the get human spawn count. Okay, and we're going up here, we're looking at this particular object with, with this particular count coming from it. It's a list, you know, of the hex tile keys that I'm working on. Problem is that I'm setting it to null initially because there's no locations yet. So here's the problem. Um, the When I'm trying to spawn a human, I don't know whether or not the landscape around the human city has changed. So therefore, um, I'm trying to find the locations around the human city each and every single time. Well, here's the problem. Here's if if the value itself hasn't been set, then we already know that um, uh, there's no counts inside of it. It's going to be zero, but this the object itself is still starting at null. It hasn't been created yet. So um, so what we want to do, we're initializing it at null, but we should probably set this value to an empty list, which means that we're going to need to go down to the board manager class, the constructor for board manager, and set it to a new list. So it will have a count to it. Now, obviously, this is not the correct value that I want inside of here. We're going to be doing hex tile, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Let's verify that real quick. Nope, hex tile keys. Yeah. Okay, let's go back down here. All right. So now it's no longer null. It's going to be constructed by the board manager when it gets made. So now we shouldn't have the null reference exception. Now we should be getting a count of 0 from that. So that was an oversight by my part on this, but easily corrected. So let's see about trying to get this reset here. We'll go ahead and clear out all the messages there, and we'll see about trying to, let's wait for this to pop back up here. There we go. All these warnings that we'll eventually need to clear out, but for now, yeah, these are just kind of I guess you might say bullet points for things to do in the future. So let's see what happens now. We're probably still going to have an error, but it's most likely going to be in a different location. So unless I'm not going to get an error. Interesting. Okay, so I have the potential for this is kind of looking good right at the moment. Okay, let's go to our game manager here and let's see about getting some more debug logs going. Oh, there it is. Okay, so timestamp set. I'm doing the timestamp here to kind of change things up, make the debug log um, at different values here, so that it will always be somewhat different here. Let's go ahead and get this going here. Count at 0. Count at 1. I'm doing it this way so I know where, if the null exceptions is kind of showing me, hey, you're having some errors here. Yeah, this is the get human neighbor count. Silly me. I needed to set that one too. But this will kind of put messages in my console to kind of show, hey, this is where it's kind of progressing to. So it's a really weak version of a debugger. I'm just not. Um, the reason why I'm doing it this way is that I don't necessarily want to be putting. Um, I don't necessarily want to be putting breakpoints everywhere and having to kind of skip through everything all over the place when this has the potential of showing me where the error could potentially be to start off with. So I'm going to set this right in front here so we know that we're actually getting into um, this particular zone, this particular area. So let's see. Now we need to actually fix, instead of human spawn locations, we need to fix the human city neighbor locations because that is also set to null. And I believe it's using the same list sex keys. Yeah. Yeah, so, okay. So now that we got those taken care of, we'll go ahead and have the console reset here. And let's go ahead and run it. See what other problems we occur. Okay, so we've been able to fix the two counts because they were null values, and I was trying to reference values contained within them that weren't there. So that's why I was getting those null reference exceptions, because it was trying to look for a count in a null, meaning that um, it was looking for a digit, but the memory location was holding said that should have been holding said digit wasn't there at all. It wasn't even created yet. Um, it wasn't even conceived of. Um, for those of you that might not be understanding completely on that, think of it like uh, you know, say like I want to call out my son Timothy. Well, I don't have a son named Timothy. So why would I call out for my son named Timothy if Timothy doesn't even exist? See what I'm saying? You know, it's same kind of thought line. Okay. Um, you know, uh, with it being a null, there's nothing there. It's not even, there's no data value, there's nothing contained, there's no memory location being set for this particular value that it's trying to look for. So, so now we have another no reference exception, which makes sense. I'm gonna be dealing with this a little bit to try to get the um, one of the prefabs to be generated. Um, but it's a good that I'm kind of fixing these now. Okay, so based off of the progression of steps here, so oh no, I didn't need to open that next portion out here. Come on, go away. I don't need you. You're pointing to the wrong location. So, all right. So we're looking at first line that it's saying that it's causing a problem is from the update. Update's not the problem here. We're looking at the next inside update. We have the call for spawn units. Inside spawn units, we're calling a human actor. Okay, we're creating um, on Game Manager 142, which is right here. We're actually adding a new human at said position. Okay, as you can kind of see here, count at 0. Okay, we're seeing that debug log being generated here. So we're actually getting a position, an agent position out of this. Okay, and we're moving on to this line of code. Okay, so we're looking at new human with the vector2 position here. Okay, so um, so now we're looking at the line on the human line of code 21. So we're going to go here And we're going to say, let's see, hey, we have this constructor for temp position being called. Okay. But there isn't anything inside of this for now. Okay. Um, because um, I'm not at that point of. I'm not on that map. Uh, I'm not on the level that will allow for me to generate the human hunter class yet. Okay, so I'm not gonna be worried about that just yet, but we're getting to this particular line here, line number 21. So then it says, okay, well, seeing that there's nothing here, we're going to call the next constructor, which is line 26, which is right here, as you can see. And we're sending in the position given by here, or at least I'm hoping, crossing fingers. Well, I can verify that using the breakpoints if I wanted to. I'm setting false to saying that the hunter a is not a hunter at all, and I'm setting the hunter type at 0, meaning that it is a general human. It doesn't have any kind of. It's not a hunter. It's not going to have weaponry. Blah blah blah. Okay, so it's going to be moving on down to this particular function here. Here's where things get. Um, here's where things get turning a little problematic here. So this calls the agent class with the temp position. Okay, so as you can see, the agent is being called. So we're going to go to our agent class here. We're going to look at the line 25, which is where the error is coming from. And we can see here we have a problem. So yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. Okay, so um, I knew that I was going to get to a point where I was going to need to handle this particular scenario because um, so while I'm sending in uh, the vector location, the location that I want the agent to spawn at, that doesn't necessarily mean that um, I'm getting that to be a direct, location on the transform. Um, so what I need to do now is um, kind of set the position of the transform into for the take the vector 2 position that I'm passing in, the location that it needs to be located at, set that into the transform position, and then save the location as the agent location. I don't know whether or not I need to go ahead and do that. I might just um, save the transform here within the agent, just so I can just say, hey, this is now the position for it. So I need to review the what needs to be done in this particular situation. And as you can see, my debug log is also calling out the agent class. So we obviously have the problem here because this transform is null. There's nothing here. So So we need to get this into that. So let me research what needs to be done there. Um, I may need to set a I may need to create a transform that will hold the agent position afterwards. So let's say we're going to do that for now. We're going to save the vector2 as something that we can kind of reference at for a later time. You know, the X and Y position. We'll go ahead and save that information. Now we're going to look into trying to transfer the vector2 into a transform. So let me look this up real quick and find out what steps I need to take in order to do so. So, vector2 into transform. This is the other way around. They're using the transform to make a vector2. Okay, not gonna work in my case. Translate requires vector3. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's look up transform. And let's see if there is a way to maybe construct the transform with the vector2. No, those are all on the list over there. That doesn't really help me out. Hmm. That's not what I want. Okay, let's see. Set position and rotation. Huh. might want to try that out. So hold on to that for right now. Let's see. Transform position is a vector 3, right? Okay. Okay, let's look at this here. So instead of making it equal to transform position, which doesn't really make any sense. I mean, there is no transform, there is no position for it. What we want to do is we want to use the set position and rotation. And we're going to use the vector 2, but we're going to have to change it into a vector 3. So, it doesn't accept vector 2s. So, I'm also going to need to set the rotation, which I'm not 100% sure on that right at this moment in time. I've seen it before um, on the 2D roguelike tutorial. He was always referencing the quintillion object, but I haven't really worked with that all that often, or pretty much at all, really, other than the tutorials. So this is going to take me a little bit to kind of figure out what needs to be done. Obviously, rotation means um, the um, I mean, we're using Unity 3D. Okay, so you're looking at um, how the 3D object is spinning in a 3D spherical, um, how is it going to look in 3D space? So let's say, let me try to get something here. It's like, okay, say you have this pen right here, right? Okay, in 3D space, you're going to be seeing it all from all different angles and the like. Well, if I'm thinking, I could be completely wrong here. Don't take my word for it, but I'm thinking what I mean by rotation is, how the object is, um, you know, how you're kind of viewing the object, what angle you're kind of seeing where, uh, you know, how are you going to see the object initially from the camera's perspective? I could be wrong on that. Don't take my word for it. But so, like for example, you're looking at the pen like so at a certain rotation. But if you change the rotation, it could be like looking like this, where the you're looking at it at a different viewpoint. Again, don't take my word for it. I'm still kind of um, learning to use Unity 3D, but I believe that is the case for this particular um, for that particular input. Okay, so um, position just means where is it located on, you know, overall on your in your game. Okay, so so what we want to do is change the vector 2 to a vector 3 and then add in the rotation, which I'm not quite sure what I can really do there. Okay there, Q. Thanks for stopping on by. I appreciate it. Enjoy seeing the movie that you're going to go watch. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully you have a good time. So take care. And oh, just so you know, I do these coding sessions every Sunday. So if you want to stop on by next week, I'll pick this up right where I left off. So hopefully I'll see you next week. If not, it's quite all right. So take care there, bud. Thanks for stopping on by. All right, so let's see. I'm just gonna put a random digit in there for the time being, just to see what if that will work for a rotation. Probably not. We'll see what happens. But let's go ahead. I know that there's a method to change a vector 2 to a vector 3. I think it should be a simple um, oh, okay. So, oh, right, okay. Hmm. 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 Now, if I'm putting a vector 2 into a vector 3 parameter, does that automatically do the conversion for me? Or do I actually have to cast it first? Not sure. Let's see if this works here. Okay. Can I convert from int to quadrillion? Okay, so that's having an issue there. Okay. Um, I need a look into what I can do with the um, I need some info on what a controlling is and how to go about using it. They're compact, also from gimbal lock, and can easily be interpolated. Intra ah, pronunciation, blah, um, that word. Represent all rotations, but it's not complex, easily to understand intuitively. Never access or modify individual components. Well, most often you would just take existing rotations from the transform and use them to construct new rotations to smoothly relate between two rotations. Hmm. Okay. Okay, rotations in 3D applications are usually represented in one or two ways. Trillions or Euler angles. Each has its own uses and drawbacks. The entity uses internally that shows values of the equivalent Euler angles in the inspector to make it easy for you to edit. Euler angles are represented by three angle values for x, y, and z that are applied sequentially. To apply Euler rotation to a particular game object, value is applied in turn as a rotation around its corresponding axis. And to a human readable format existing of three angles, angles can represent a rotation from one orientation to another through a turn of more than 180 degrees. Rotation angles suffer from gimbal lock. Applying the three rotations in turn, it is possible for the first and second rotation to result in a third axis pointing in the same direction as one of the previous axes. This means a degree of freedom has been lost because the third rotation value cannot be applied around a unique axis. Use for rotation for game object. Four numbers representing utilities. Numbers don't represent angles or axes. You normally need to access them directly. You're interested in delving into the mathematics. You really need to know that represents rotation in 3D space. You never normally need to know modify the x, y, and z properties. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So we're going to be going ahead and seeing about trying to get this working correctly. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so it's not liking that. Will that work for it? Don't know. Okay. Weird. Hmm. All right. All right. Let's see. So that didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. Interesting. Um. Hmm. All right. Let's just see about just doing that and seeing if that works for now. As a temporary basis, there, folks. Don't. Um, I'm already thinking that this is gonna potentially cause problems because of. Um, I don't know how this might affect the sprites that I have in question. So we'll see whether or not this is gonna do what I need it to do. Probably not. I'm most likely gonna need to change this in some fashion or another in order to get it to work properly. So So let's see what happens. All right. So constructor was happy with what it currently gave. So let us go ahead and try to build this and see what happens. All right. So there's that. So we got ourselves a little bit of a problem, I'm sure. It's probably saying, hey, we got ourselves a null exception somewhere. Because the agent isn't popping up right away. So it's probably having some issues. Yep, there it is. Right, let's take a look at this. I shut down the program, obviously, because this one, I'm going to need to figure out where the problem lies, obviously. So we're right back to agent again. Let's see. Let's look up transform again and make sure that um, I'm doing the constructor proper here. Okay. Constructing a transform. Oh, that doesn't really help. Make a new transforming code. Here we go. Uh, you can't do that here though. Most granular objects you work with are rotation and position. This is all much more clear in C#. Using, if you are used to working on objects as your question suggests, try if you have the flexibility. Previous experience. Transform is a component that's attached to the game object. All game objects have a transform, which is the only component that's not optional. So you can do var neutron. Okay. Okay, so that's probably not going to work. Hmm. Setting a transform position using code. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so Here's where I'm a little confused about right at the moment. Game objects automatically have transforms to them, according to Unity. So, do I even need this? Yeah, let's see. Unity 3D model behavior. Let's see. Let's look up whether or not transform. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so I might not even need that. If I can just do this transform, as that it's part of the component of the mono behavior, if I can just go, let's see, transform that, will that work? Because it's going to be referencing this particular object. So this game object will have its own unique transform. So I'm setting the position and rotation for it with the agent location and new quintillion. Hmm. Let's see if this works out or not. Let Unity kind of catch up here. Okay, so there's no errors. So let's see, does this work the way we want it to work? Nope, still got a null reference exception. Okay, so we still got problems. Okay. So, all right. This is where we're gonna have to use the. Um, this is where we're really gonna have to use the debugger. Okay. Um, these little, debug logs and whatnot. They're just meant to kind of get an idea as to the kind of the path that you're continuing on. Okay. The um, what functions get called where. Okay, but it doesn't really tell you too much about um, what problems you might be experiencing in the memory location itself. Okay, and that's the problem. Okay, we need to figure out. Um, we're gonna need to figure out whether or not temp position has any kind of value to it. Okay, and it should, but we don't know. Okay. Um, board manager should be setting the locations and returning the values back um, using the find human spawn locations. That should set the locations into the um, it should set the values into um, the spawn list, and then it should return back the values into this temp that I can then create this value here. Now, what I'm going to do is find out whether or not I can actually get some value, see what the values are for temp here, and see whether or not I'm actually getting a return, these values of row and column back. Okay. Um, because the this vector 2 should on the first pass through here should be getting some actual data. Okay, because we're looking at count to 0 here. We're looking at this particular set. Okay, so the value that is being passed in from the spawn human should be a vector 2 value, which can then be, you know, created as a new human. It should. We'll see whether or not that actually works out. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to the debugger here. We're going to go ahead and run the debugger. So we don't need uh, these values anymore. They were from my time of working on Kushkel's algorithm. what I do want to do is I'm going to put down agent position here for this value. Then we're going to go to here and we're going to put in temp so that we can see what's contained here. And then we're going to go here and we're going to add in temp position so that we have objects to kind of view, to see, and to like, find out what is going on. Why are we having certain problems in certain locations? Okay, this is where the debugger comes in handy here. Okay, so now that we have the debugger running, we're going to go ahead and run the script again, run the game again. So now it will hit the a breakpoint that I don't really need anymore. So continue on. There it goes. Okay. So we're looking at the first breakpoint for spawn human, which is correct. That should be where we're seeing it for the very first time. And we're looking at the hex tile key of temp. Okay, good. We have a row and column set. That's good. Now we're looking at row 8, column 4. So let's see. It looks like that might be here, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on this. It doesn't, I have the methods of, I have the debug logs that can show where the tile, and the tile values, but it's not always going to be absolutely perfect every single time. So, okay, so we're going to step into this. Okay, so continue on here. Okay, so now we have the agent position here that's being set for the X and Y value. Okay. Wait, I thought the X and Y value was rotated around. Interesting. I might have messed up there a little bit, but we'll continue on. So okay, so we have the agent position, and now we're going to, our active count is still less than 1, so we're good there. Now we're going to go into the new human agent position there. I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue because I have another breakpoint at agent. So we're going to just continue on. Okay, so temp position once again has the 8 and 4 value here, so that's good. We're going to step over. Oh, I said agent position, not agent location. Okay. Once again, we're good. We're getting a exact copy of. We're signing the temp position into agent location. I mean, I don't necessarily. I might not necessarily need it, but because once the transform has been set, I shouldn't necessarily need the vector 2, but we're going to hold off on that for now. So I'm going to step over one more time. No, it has a problem with that. Why does it have a problem with that? Hmm. Okay. Okay, so the only possibility that I can think of is that transform has not been set. It hasn't been created yet. Okay. Um, Even though this is derived from mono behavior, I'm all right. The reason why I'm saying that transform might not actually be set yet, it might still be null, is the fact that agent location has a value to it. It is not null. Okay, so null reference exception doesn't mean anything to that. Okay, it has a value within the vector 2. Okay, so this isn't a problem. This shouldn't be a problem. The fact that I'm doing a new object here also shouldn't be a problem. Okay, if I put null in there, sure, I mean, the null reference exception, you know, is understandable. Okay, so only the only object that I can point to that has the potential of being null is transform itself. How do I know that? I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know why the transform hasn't been set yet. Okay. Um, but I need to figure out how I need to get the agent location into the transform to start off with. So let's go back to our original um, back to that discussion list. Okay. Um, hmm. I mean, do I need to actually set the position to a new vector 3 right then and there? Okay, so transform position equals new 53 temp position X, temp position Y, 0. Actually, I'll just use agent location. And then we'll go ahead and set that, and we'll see whether or not it actually works. Stopping the debugger here. Close this out. Let this recompile all the assets and whatnot. Clear out the console because don't really need the warnings. And there's no errors, otherwise I'd be seeing an error at the moment. So okay, so once again, we're looking at line 27 being the problem here. Once again, the position and the transform is based off of what I'm seeing here. Let's see. Form is null. Let's verify this here. Ah, interesting. Very interesting. So it's not null. If it was, we would have been seeing this dialog here. So one thing um, that I need to kind of point out here is this right here. So I was missing this before. So let's look at the game manager here. See this new human line here that it's kind of referring to, this whole spawn units. Yeah. Um, it doesn't really like that. Okay, it wants us to use the whole using add component. Um, so I will most likely need to work, to change everything around the, um, so that the game manager can basically add the components of um, a new agent into the mix and see if that actually works accordingly. But we'll hold off on that for right now. I'm still kind of curious as to what exactly is null in this because agent location isn't null. So I'm just kind of curious what it considers null to be for the null reference exception here. So I'm going to clear that out. We're going to go ahead and run it again. And we're going to see, huh, interesting. So neither one of these debug logs got triggered at all. Probably because maybe the debug logs aren't working correctly with um, maybe the null reference exception isn't actually printing out these particular. No. That's incorrect. I'm completely wrong on that one because um, I was gonna say maybe it's not printing out any of the debug logs from this particular constructor, but no, that's incorrect because this particular debug bug log is being sent out. Huh. So the transform is not null, position is not null, but yet it still considers this line a null. Hmm. Let's see. There's no. Hmm. Hmm. Checking if transform is null. Hmm. This is very odd. So I keep on getting examples of saying, hey, if you check to see if it's not null, then go ahead and check to see if, whatever, you know, it, you won't have any kind of problem with this. But yet, I'm looking at this, and the null reference exception is still having a problem with this particular line, even though I'm asking to see whether or not it actually is null. And I'm getting a null reference exception. So something else is going on behind the scenes that I'm not aware of. And it's not even allowing this to actually happen. So not much I can really do about that. All right, so my stream is coming to an end here pretty soon here, folks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to um, gonna comment out all these, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little note here to do mono behavior doesn't like the new keyword. Try using add component. Alright. So we'll see about trying to get this portion working next week. I am getting a little bit closer, but we need to get the agent created first before I can apparently use the transform in order to set the location for it, from what I can see. So this is where we're going to go ahead and stop here, folks. It is 6 o'clock. Time for me to shut everything down. So just so you know, I post all these videos in my YouTube channel, which is down below. There's a link. I have multiple different playlists for the gameplay that I do and this game that I'm currently building right now. It's all in the playlist on my YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out. I have links to my Discord, my Patreon, and my Twitter account down below on my Twitch channel, as well as in the description of my YouTube videos. So if that interests you, feel free to check that out. We're moving along. It's taking a little bit to get this kind of working for me, but like I was saying earlier today, every little step will get me to where I need to go. So it's a process, but it will be worthwhile in the end once I can say that this is a completed product. But we're going to hold off on that for right now, obviously, because it isn't. So, I do this weekly, these coding sessions weekly every Sunday, so feel free to stop on by next Sunday if all you're interested in is the progression of my game GGG. or Ghouls, Ghosts, and Goblins. Um, so, and if you're interested in any of the gameplay that I do, you can check out. There's a schedule down below where I post all of my information concerning the games that I'm currently playing, such as the fact that I'm playing Warframe both on Monday and Tuesday, and I have World of Warships on Wednesday, my Wednesday Warships. So if any of that interests you, then feel free to stop on by. I do this daily from 2 to 6, so if you're interested in that, hopefully I'll see you then. Until then, take care, have a good night, and I'll see you strangers next time.